While Republicans try to gain moderates on health care, so far little avail. Conservatives are wavering, too. A lot has to do with the allowances that have been made to win over converts to this, including dumping a lot more into Medicaid and related monies in some of those states where they're trying to exert some influence. To House Freedom Caucus member Ron DeSantis, who doesn't like the smell of that. Congressman, it doesn't look like this is going to make it. Am I right?
Well, we'll see, Neil. I think it would have been probably would have had better chances if after they failed the first time, they didn't take a 5-week recess, because you have this September 30th deadline. I actually think they can probably pass another budget for FY18 and try to do health care. But right now, people are focusing on September 30th. It's awfully difficult to do something like this in 2 weeks. And there's going to be some push and pull. I mean, the moderates are sensitive on Medicaid. You know, my view as somebody that's a more limited government guy is the compromise would be, okay, work with them on Medicaid, but make sure we're focusing on market reform so that we can lower premiums on the individual insurance market. So I think that's what some of the conservative senators like Ted Cruz and Mike Lee are probably focused on. So, look, I think it's possible. I'd like to see them pass and send something to the House, because I think coming away with a goose egg really is going to further demoralize the voters that sent us here.
There is the other argument, Congressman, you and I have gotten into this before, that something is better than nothing, that some changes, replacement parts to Obamacare are better than Obamacare. Are you in that camp or no?
Well, right. I mean, well, first of all, the idea, Susan Collins said the Democrats got to come in. They are not going to come in on anything. Their view is not to fix anything with health care, but to bail out Obamacare. So we're left with a situation of we wanted to repeal it and replace it. I like to repeal it all because I think that's the cleanest canvas to write on. We don't have the votes to do that. I think that's clear. So if we can roll back half of it, then I think that keeps repeal alive. What I liked about Graham Cassidy as a concept is that if you're devolving the decision-making to the states, it's kind of laboratories of democracy. You'll have some states do market reforms. They'll reform Medicaid. It'll be successful. You'll have other states, I'd say probably the liberal states, would go in the more Obamacare big government direction. And then the American people can see what works. And so even though it didn't repeal all of Obamacare, in fact, it kept a lot of the taxes and spending by block granting it. You are shifting power out of Washington and sending it back to the states. And I think the American people, you have a much better chance of convincing your state government to do something than you do the federal bureaucracy in Washington.
So that would be better than what we got.
Of course.
Okay. Your colleague, Congressman Louis Gohmert, said this morning on Fox and Friends that maybe Arizona should think about recalling John McCain, not only over his health care vote, but his cancer diagnosis, that he should focus on getting better and dealing with that. As you know, he's battling a brain tumor. But the clear message was he's certainly not helping Republicans with his constant no votes in this latest effort to reject what you and your colleagues are cooking up on a health care repeal. What do you think of that?
Well, I'll just wish him well on his health. I don't want to go there. I think individual members have been ill from time to time, and they got to figure that out for themselves and their families. I will just say on the vote, I mean, had he run in his primary in 2016 saying that he would do all he can to scuttle efforts, even for a modest repeal like the skinny repeal, he probably wouldn't have been renominated. And so I think there's a lot of frustration that when politicians are running commercials saying they're going to stop Obamacare, saying they're going to do all these things, and then get to Washington and somehow don't follow through and do the opposite. I think that's frustrating to voters. And I think the Republican Party, as a whole, not everybody, but we have a certain number of folks who campaign one way, but then when they get to Washington, tend to act a different way.
Are you disappointed in him?
I'm disappointed that the Senate hasn't been able to honor their promise. This is not just some side promise, Neil. It's not a flippant promise. It's kind of the core reason Republicans took the House, the core reason Republicans took the Senate, and I think it was instrumental in Donald Trump's victory. So here we are, having been promised this, and you have guys who not only can the Senate not pass a bill, you have a handful of senators who voted against the same bill that they voted for in 2016 that Obama vetoed. And so it's been very, very frustrating, and it's doing a lot of damage to the Republican Party amongst our voter base.
Real quickly, sir, and I'm probably infuriating my producers as well as your people, but you mentioned the president, and of course he weighed in on this whole NFL mess, referring to those who get on one knee and all of that as sons of bitches, as you know. And others have argued, whatever you think of this issue, it's taking away from the issues that maybe you care about, addressing this health care thing, more importantly, tax cuts this week when the details come out. Do you agree with that he all of a sudden shifted the attention away from something that might be more vital for the time being?
Well, it could be helpful, too, depending on how you view it.
Good point.
No, look, I think that this needs to be said. Stand for the national anthem. You're not forced to do it. It's not, the government's not going to put you in jail. It's not a First Amendment issue. It's a matter of doing what's right to respect the people that have fought for our country and to respect and give thanks for all the opportunities these millionaire football players have because of America. If they were born anywhere else in this world, they would not have the opportunities they have here.
Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys owner, as you know, has said that his players honor that and do exactly what you said, and has said in the past they don't. They're not on the team. What do you think of that?
Jerry Jones is a smart business guy. Dallas is a very pro-America, pro-military town, and if you have players who are protesting the anthem, that is going to cause fans to be disenchanted to a certain extent with the team. But the NFL's got a problem here, Neil, because if you want to honor slain police officers, they won't let you do it. If you want to raise awareness for breast cancer, they won't let you do it. They'll fine you for celebrating the end zone. But the whole league now is behind these players protesting our flag and our national anthem. That's a choice the NFL has made, and I think they've miscalculated on that choice.
Do you think that's why their ratings are down?
I think it's part of it. I think part of it is the pace of play has changed. There's a lot more penalties. And I'm from SEC country down here in Florida, and I think people realize there's a lot of good college football out there, too.
Ooh, touche. All right, Congressman, very good seeing you again. Thank you very much.